Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to this press conference. It's going to be brief, and like we promised, we're going to be on time. We hope the questions are organized at the end of it. So the lock will remove his mask, and you will put on ours. It's going to be about security and other issues. After his address, then you will ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Joyce Vagala and the Shadow Minister for Information and Anti-Corruption. My pleasure to welcome you to this brief presser this morning. On my right is the Honorable Nyeko Derrick, the Shadow Minister for Presidency and Security. We invited you to share with the country a few concerns on two subjects in the country. The country is aware that the resurrection of terror attacks was reported from 23rd of this month, when reported terrorists attacked the country via the bar and pork joint in Komamboga, in which lives were lost. And the attacker came at the backdrop of reported and advisory warnings from the UK government to our own government about a possibility of terror attack on Uganda, to which our security responded with the conviction that they are alive to the possibility and therefore ready. Readiness connoted capacity to stop or thwart the terror, but we are here regretting the loss of lives, including the attack on a bus on Masaka Road 2 days ago, in which again lives were lost and scores of people injured. First of all, we would like to condole and offer our sympathies to the families of those that were lost in the blasts and those that were injured. We do hope that government will rise to the occasion. First of all, to keep the country duly informed of any such attack, because they informed us they have enough information. Secondly, to undertake well-considered investigations on these attacks and share with the country that information that the country needs to know. One of the biggest challenges in fighting terror is by the state actors communicating in riddles, and of course, because we have a dozen of them that are managing security in the country, each one of them communicating variously and throwing the public into confusion. We are inviting security agencies, one, to give the country coherent and consistent information. Thirdly, we would like to advise security and government to avoid using the resurgence of terror as an opportunity to settle political scores. Whereas terrorism breeds desperation, it's not the space of government to act desperately. When citizens are scared out of their wits, the government has a duty to continue giving the public assurance that they are in charge. When we hear stories of accusations without proper investigation, including outpost accusations against political groupings, our understanding is that the government would have elected not to investigate, but to act in haste and lose an opportunity to investigate and finally come to the bottom of this problem. So we expect nothing but proper investigation and sharing with the citizens all that they need to know. In the same breath, in 2018, General Museveni addressed Parliament on issues of national security, and in it, he presented a raft of measures that were to be taken to curb insecurity. We want to demand of him to come and offer a report card, a scorecard, as to how those measures he so proposed, because it was followed, those measures were followed with a request in the budget to fund for that security. So we were asking of him, we were demanding of him to come and offer the country scorecard of how these measures have worked. Or actually, the fund is voted for that security measures was used for other activities. So we need a report. We would like to encourage the population to cooperate, because terror is indiscriminate. To cooperate and remain vigilant, and where possible, to report appropriately. We would like us to warn the general public to avoid being used in a circumstance where the state becomes desperate. Like we saw a story of a young lady, a young woman, claiming that he saw somebody, possibly with a bomb, adorned in people power t-shirts. That kind of conduct is very dangerous to the public. For some of us who have been here for some time, we know how the Ugandan state works. The public should desist from being used by the state in ignorance, by exploiting their gullibility, but only cooperate where they actually have information. We encourage the public to cooperate where they have information, so that the population is properly protected. The second issue I would like to share with the country this morning relates to the situation and the conditions of our two members of parliament, colleagues, that have been in incarceration for now close to 2 months. You are aware that the two were charged and remanded. They were granted bail by court, and rearrested by the state on the same charges. Our team of attorneys attempted on Monday to have them released on bail by court in Masaka, unsuccessfully. I will not go into the reasoning of court in denying them bail. But I will say this with immense respect and humility to the judiciary, that as long as bail is still provided for in the Constitution and our statutory books, we ask of the judiciary to exercise their judicial power in conformity with the laws of the land. And I would like again to arouse the curiosity of the judiciary that there is a contest for supremacy in this country. That's why I need the judiciary to be appraised. There is a contest for supremacy, and the judiciary holds a veto in this contest. And they are the firewall where this contest takes a sharp partisan bend. We invite them to have the courage, because this war of supremacy must end with the people and the Constitution remaining supreme, not the state. Just a reminder again that judicial power is a derivation from the people, not from the state. So we so pray that the judiciary takes cognizance of the ongoing contest for supremacy, and therefore move to cast their veto vote in this contest, so that the Constitution and the people win, but not the state. At the helm of all this is the protection of the rights of citizens. And whereas we are all invited to assist the state in fighting all forms of insecurity, we invite the state not to use this invitation to abuse and circumvent the rights of citizens. There's no way you're going to fight insecurity by yourself causing social insecurity, because it will cause the withdrawal of the public from assisting the state in combating all forms of insecurity. We have asked our attorneys, in the case of the Honorable Segiri Nyansawanyana, to consider the next step. It is our considered view that the legal space is not yet exhausted. We're going to pursue it to make sure that these, our friends and other citizens, see the ends of justice in all this. We are not here to declare their innocence, but we cannot participate in violating their right to bail, including a well-known established doctrine of innocence until proven guilty. And as long as the state wants to hold on to these honorable members and other citizens, they have the space for investigation. It's not the space of these accused to investigate. And this is the kind of environment in which we invite the judiciary to veto the actions of the state that are trying to occupy the people's space and their space and the space of the judiciary. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Leader of the Opposition in Parliament. And along the way, we're joined by Parliamentary Commissioner and Member of Parliament for Mityana Municipality, Honorable Zahir Francis. So I think we can go to Uganda before they can ask questions. Is that okay? Yeah.
Thank you. Webale nnyo, Honorable. Ekiisizza olukungaana luno olw'amawulire kugabana ne bannayuganda ensonga bbiri enkulu eziri mu ggwanga. Esookera ddala y'ensonga y'obutujju obuzzeemu okusimba amakanda mu ggwanga obwatandise nga 23 Ekkomamboga, omwafiiridde abantu baffe bangi ate n'abalala ne bagira n'ebisago. Mu ngeri y'emu, obutujju obwakoleddwa ku bbaasi e Lungala ku luguudo lw'e Masaka obwayongedde okusindika entiisa ey'amaanyi eri bannayuganda mu mbeera ekiri atabaala. So tusaba bannayuganda obutakoowa okutunula enkaliriza, okwekengera ate n'okuloopa buli kye beekengedde kyonna. Twagala okwongera n'okusaasira bannayuganda abafiiriddwa abantu baabwe n'abaafunye ebisago, era twagala kulowooza nti abalina obuyinza bw'eggwanga lino bajja kugoberera abantu abaafunye ebisago babajjanjabe olw'obulumbaganyi buno. Twagala okutegeeza ab'ebyokwerinda aba buli mutendera okuba bannayuganda amawulire agakwata ku kye bamanyi, naddala ago omuntu owa bulijjo ge yeetaaga okumanya, ate nabo bennyini okwewala buli omu asanze omuzindalo ku kkubo okugwogereramu ku nsonga zino. Abamu ku bo baagala nnyo okwogera, abamu babanga abavudde mu kirooto ne boogera. Ekivaamu bannayuganda bajja kuva ku mawulire agaweebwa mu butongole bwe gabanga bwe ganaazuulwa nga tegalina kye gaggusa badde ku gaabwe aga leediyo katwe. Twagala kusaba ebyokwerinda ensonga z'obutujju baziwengako bannayuganda amawulire agasensuddwa obulungi, so si buli avudde gy'avudde nga nakyagoogerako. Ensonga endala, mu mwaka gwa 2018 John Museveni yayogera eri Paalamenti naawe ensonga nnyingi nnyo ngeri gy'agenda okukwatamu ebyokwerinda. Mujjukira bulungi ne mu kiseera ekyo waliwo engeri y'obutali butebenkevu yali estudde amatanga mu ggwanga. Twagala John Museveni ajja abo bannayuganda alipoota ku ebyo byagamba okukola atuuseewo yakolako bimeka, era nsonga lwaki tetunnaba kutuuka kulinnya nfeeta embeera eno, kubanga bwe yawa ensonga ze yawa ne byagenda okukola fe abali mu Parliament twalaba nga n'omwaka gw'ebyensimbi ogwaddako ensimbi zaaweebwa okukola ku nsonga ezo. Twagala alipoota ku byokwerinda n'engeri ensimbi ezaamuweebwa gye byakola nawe we tutuuse. Mu byonna twagala okukubiriza bannayuganda okubeera obwerende, buli omu nga yeekengera bw'ali, ate n'okwongera buli omu okuwa munne obukuumi. ensonga eyokubiri yenjagala okwogerako olwaleero ensonga y'abannaffe ababaka ba parliament ababiri honorable Segirinya ne honorable Sewanyana Alan abali mu kkomera kati bagenda kuweza myezi kumpi ebiri. Mujjukira bulungi nti basooka okukwatibwa basobola okweyimirirwa mu kkooti oluvannyuma lwa sabbiiti 2 nga bali mu kkomera. Baddamu ne bakwatibwa mu ngeri y'obumenyi bw'amateeka, kyokka era abaabakwata na buli kati nandibadde ku mulundi guli tebaawakanya kweyimirirwa kwabwe. Ku mulundi guno balaga nti okweyimirirwa kwabwe kwa bulabe nnyo eri eggwanga olw'ebifo bye balimu ng'ababaka ba paalamenti. Twagala mu kiseera kino okutegeeza eggwanga erike kutunulira ababaka bano ng'abaasingibwa omusango gwonna. Tewali musango gwali gubasingisiddwa, ate n'abaabawaabira bakyateebereza buteebereza, kubanga singa tebaali mu kuteebereza, singa baali batutte ensonga zaabwe mu kkooti ne babawozesa. Eddembe lya Munnayuganda yenna okusigala nga alya butaala okusinga nga asingisiddwa omusango terisobola kulinnyirirwa ne tusirika. Era twagala okusaba abakulu b'ekitongole ekiramuzi, era nga tumanyi nti bakola nga beetengeredde, era situwagala kugenda mu mbeera yonna egezako okukkakkanya kwetengerera kwabwe na kitiibwa kyabwe, okuggyako okubajjukiza obujjukiza nti mu nsonga ezigenda mu maaso mu Uganda waliwo okukontana wakati w'abalina obuyinza n'abantu, nti ani asinga obuyinza, ani asinga amaanyi. Waliwo olutalo wakati wa ssemateeka, abantu ne gavumenti eri mu buyinza. Mu lutalo olwo oba mu kontana okwo ekitongole ekiramuzi ye rifari. Tusaba nga ba rifari omulimu gwabwe bagukole nga tebeerabidde kaadi ze balina kugaba ewaka, n'obutakwatirwa nte ngeneze kufuuwa firimbi nga balabyewo abakubisa obukokola mu kontana kuno. Buvunaanyizibwa bwabwe ng'ekitongole ekiramuzi okusigala nga bawa eggwanga lino essuubi nti twali muntu agenda kwekomya buyinza, twali kitongole kyonna kigenda kwekomya buyinza, kikole bye kyagala nga tewali akikuba ku nsolobotto. N'olwekyo tubasuubira okusigala nga beetengeredde wakati mu byonna ebiriwo, kubanga amaanyi gaabwe tegava mu kibiina kiri mu buyinza, amaanyi gaabwe ne mu ssemateeka, amaanyi gaabwe n'obuyinza bwabwe buva mu bantu. Kyetwagala okubajjukiza kyokka basigale nga bakijjukira nga bakola omulimu gwabwe awatali kukwatibwa muntu yenna nsonyi, n'obutakkiriza mbeera yonna ebafaananya nga abalina ebiragiro by'omuntu ebassa mu nkola bye batidde. Mu kiseera kino bannaffe bano nga bakyali mu nkomyo, mwakitegeddeko Honorable Segirinya obulamu bwe buli mu matigga. Twategeezeddwa olunaku lwajjo nti yatwaliddwa mu ddwaliro e Mulago, mulwadde ali mu mbeera mbi naye era ali ku mpingu. Ebikolwa bino eby'okutyoboola omusibe n'eddembe lyonna ery'okujjanjabibwa abasawo baba yeesaliddewo, na byonna ebikwata ku mbeera y'ababaka bano, twasabye bannamateeka baffe abagoberera ensonga eno okugenda mu maaso nga balondoola, kubanga tukkiriza nti wakyaliwo amakubo amalala nga tuyita mu kkooti lisobola okuyitamu okulaba nti eddembe ly'abano teririnnyirirwa ate nga liweebwa ekitiibwa. Nebalinnyo.
Now we can go into the question time. I hope the questions will not be very many, and please keep them precise.
Yes, I'm Fred Kadri from Urban TV.
Pardon?
I'm Fred Kadri from Urban TV. I want to understand whether leader of opposition you regulate calling off your boycott. Because had a boycott with a good cause, probably starts that you don't call it off until your colleagues are released. But it is not just that expectations. Yesterday we saw one of your members, Narozake, storming out of parliament in protest, as if he's not comfortable with calling off the boycott. Yesterday, according to the opinion, the submission is better from the pro-parliament. I want to understand whether it is a move you regret, because the situation of your colleagues is not improving, but it was a thing. And two, DP launched a move for a referendum on bail reforms. I want to understand whether this is the move you are ready to back as opposition in parliament. And what your comment? Lastly, we need an update on the legislative agenda, because the parliament right now has almost no business. Yesterday we saw parliament being adjourned after 2 hours, where we think that the opposition should take this as an opportunity to move your business ahead of government. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We could take, those are like three. We could take.
No, I need to know specifically what instructions you have given lawyers in regard to MPs. Specifically, what instructions?
Okay. Anyone else? You can take that and then you answer that.
I have never Colombians. I want to know if there is any cause of action from you if the president does not come up to account for that security scorecard that you're calling.
Shamin,
Yeah.
I didn't get you.
I got her. It's okay. Thank you. Beginning with Fred. Fred, first of all, you probably never covered the context of our protest. We were very clear and unequivocal as to why we left the house then, and you probably need to review the script of my communication on the floor. We never offered timelines. We never offered ultimatums. We protested the actions of the state. We protested the lethargic and unlawful approach of the state. And we gave ourselves time at our pressure. We never at any one time, you probably need to go back and review it, stated that we would only come out. We said we are contesting the unlawful conduct of the state, and we did so. The following day, these members were aligned before court, and it is our space to afford courts their time to act in their space. Okay, that far, we are following the actions of the state. That's why we have made a humble comment on what the judiciary is doing in this case. Secondly, I do not know whether you interviewed Honorable Zake and he informed you that he was protesting or reinstating the protest. Short of that, I am constrained to respond to that, unless you are saying you interviewed the Honorable Zake and that's what he told you. Thirdly, I am not aware of any referendum. I know how a referendum is organized. Maybe you're referring to something else. Do you want to clarify?
Yes. First of all, I want to clarify that the press conference which announced the boycott was chaired by the opposition chief whip, and he made that announcement. You have sense because you are going to attend the meeting of the speaker, maybe you missed that information. But they put timelines that they until the members are ready.
No, Honorable Fred, I mean, I'm elevating you. My statement is on the Hansard. Okay? And I read that protest. I'm going to the Hansard. We don't want this to be a contest. I spoke on this, I led it. Nobody else led it. On the referendum, you want to clarify whether there's a referendum I'm not aware of?
I was saying that DP announced a move to push for a referendum on the bail reforms. And I asked whether opposition is ready to join this wagon of the referendum. Or you think the referendum is not something you can need at this time?
We are not wagon riders, first of all. If there is a matter to which we need to participate, we contextualize it and educate ourselves about its feasibility. I can tell you so many people and groups, out of frustration, out of desire to do things right, get things rightly done, will come out with measures, and at any one time, we shall evaluate them. We are not stopping anybody from coming out with something fresh that can galvanize the country into rejecting an attempt to freeze the democratic space. So it is within the right. On the agenda, you need to understand that when we launch the agenda, we set out to break it into workable activities. They include motions, statements, and bills. A number of them have seen the order paper. We have made several statements as part of the agenda. We even expect to make more statements. But also remember that the opposition is not like a government that had all the logistical, space to work very fast. For us, we can only work within space, time, and resources at our disposal. And we are not late in our program. We are on the move. Those working on bills are working. Consultations are on. You probably saw me consulting the people of Northern Uganda on a number of issues that are part of the legislative agenda. We are on course. And it's not that everything is going to be exhausted on the floor, like I said at the launch. The agenda is not about parliament only. The agenda is not about politicians only, but probably a precursor to much more bigger national issues in which several citizens will participate. Olive, specific instructions to the attorneys. Yes, the instructions are within the realm of returning to court to further ask that these members can get bail. They're within the legal space. We are trying to look at options. Probably this address is not exhaustive enough, because for you to return to court, you look at options. We are still studying those options. And what we ask the legal team is to consider all possible legal options that the law provides for. That's what we undertook to do, and I'm very sure in the next 24 hours we shall come out with the next course and cause of action to answer Shamim. Shamim, we have both a course and a cause. A cause of action takes place in court, a cause in the political arena. So we are making the first move to ask for accountability from the president. That is a political cause of action. And when there's no such response, we have legal space in Parliament to demand that that accountability is made. We shall simply do that. Right now, we are stating it here publicly to remind the public that people who wield power have ever promised a raft of measures, and we want them to account for what they have done through those measures to curb terrorism and insecurity in the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am hoping there are no other questions. If there are, can we take one or two so that we come to the close of this question?
Shamim had the question.
I answered
No,
it.
the question was answered.
I answered it.
Yeah, I would like to thank those who are on Facebook and other social media platforms. So thank you so very much for coming to this press conference. We're coming to the end of it in Uganda for the questions that he answered, and we'll be good to go.
Okay. Ebibuuzo bya Fred yabadde abuuza obanga twakola nsobi okuyimiriza okwekalakasa kwaffe okuva mu Parliament. Nenjala kutegeeza eggwanga nti bwe twali tulangirira okwekalakasa n'okuva mu Parliament, sitwawa nnaku naye twekalakasiza ensonga ze twawa okulaga obutali bumativu ku ebyo ebyali bikolebwa abakuumaddembe nga bagezaako okutyoboola ekitiibwa kya kkooti yali ewadde ababaka bano okweyimirirwa. Ekyokubiri, Honorable Zaake kyadaabuza obanga ddala yabadde munyiivu era nga twejjusa obanga Honorable Zaake azzeemu okwekalakaasa yekka. Ekisooka, lubaale wa Honorable Zaake waali. Ekyokubiri, omubaka wa paalamenti yenna tewali kimugaana kuva mu paalamenti ng'alina kyatamatidde nakyo yekka oba n'abalala. Ekyokusatu, omubaka wa paalamenti okufuluma tamala kusaba sipiika lukusa nga mwana wa ssomero nti asaba kufulumako mu paalamenti. Osobola okufuluma okwebuuza obanga okooye ebiriwo obanga ogenze kunoonyereza. So saagala Honorable Zaake kumutegeera bubi, naye eddembe ly'okukola ebyo byonna alirina yekka nga yeetabye n'abalala oba olw'ensonga endala yonna. Ekirungi waali naye ne bw'abanga yabadde munyiivu, obunyiivu bwana ayinza obutabutegeera. Ensonga ya ba-DP oba n'abantu abalala bayinza okugamba nga baagala wabeewo referendum ku nsonga ya bail, ndowooza abantu bano baddembe ne bannayuganda bonna abalala okuwa ebirowoozo ebiyinza okufuula ensonga eno ensonga y'eggwanga, so si akatuubagiro wakati w'abalina obuyinza nga batuyidde nabwo. Omanyi waliwo okubeera n'obuyinza nga busobedde ky'obukozesa n'osaba obukozesa ebikyamu. So bannayuganda basobola okubaako kye bakola baddembe. Naffe abakulembera oludda oluwabuzi oba oluvuganya tuvunaanyizibwa okuwuliriza buli munnayuganda alina amagezi gaawa, alina kyalowooza kisobola okukolebwa. Bwe tuba nga tulowooza nti kisoboka ate ne twetaba nabo okulaba nti tutuukiza. Tetulina kisawo kye tutambula nakyo nti ebiri mu kisawo ekyo bye byenkomeredde n'akamu n'akatono. Ensonga y'ebiteeso byaffe ebyali mu legislative agenda okubanga tebinnaba kujja mu kiseera kino. Legislative agenda teyali lesson plan, ntwagerwa kusomesa lesson emweggwe, erimu okwebuuza, erimu okuwuliriza, erimu okugoberera, era twalambika nti ebiteeso ebinaava omwo agamu gajja kubeera mabago g'amateeka bills, ezimu zijja kubeera statement ezikolebwa mu parliament, ezirala zijja kubeera motions oba biteeso. Njagala kutegeeza eggwanga nti twabitandikako dda, era abagoberera obulungi ebimu ku byo byamala dda okujja ku floor ya parliament, era biri ku lukangaga lw'ebiteesebwa order paper, era mmanyi nti bingi bijja kuba bitambula. Tetulina busobozi nga bwa kibiina kiri mu buyinza kozesa nsimbi za wa musolo kwanguya biteeso byaffe kujja ku floor ya parliament nga bwe twandyagadde, naye tulina obugumiikirizo obumala n'okumanya ebikibi by'okusoosowaza okusinziira ku mbeera eriwo. Yabuuzizza ku nsonga yaki bannamateeka baffe kye bagenda okukola ku lwa bannaffe abakyali mu nkomyo, nga bwe nabategeezezza nti Honorable Seggirinya ate ye mulwadde atali mu mbeera nnungi n'akamu, kyokka ali ku mpingu mu ddwaliro. Twasabye bannamateeka baffe batunuulire byonna ebikkirizibwa mu mateeka okulaba nti baddayo mu kkooti okuddamu okusaba okweyimirirwa kw'ababaka bano. Amateeka gawa emitendera, gawa n'ebyokukola eby'enjawulo singa tolina bumativu ku ekyo ekikoleddwa kkooti emu. N'olwekyo kye twabasabye okukola olw'okuba nti bawa obudde ensonga zino bajja tutegeeza ndowooza mu ssaawa sinnyingi eziddako ki kye banaaba bazudde ekyangu okukola okulaba nti bannaffe bano beeyimirirwa. Tugambye General Museveni ajje awe okunnyonnyola biki byakoze ku ebyo byagamba okukola mu 2018 okumalawo obutujju n'obumenyi bw'amateeka. Wano tukimusabidde mu lukuŋŋaana lw'amawulire naye ne mu parliament olw'okubanga byayagira okukola yaweebwako ne ssente, tujja kusaba abo abamukiikirira mu parliament bajje bannyonnyole bawe accountability ku ebyo ebikoleddwa, bannayuganda balamule obanga ddala bijja mu ebyo bye yeekalakaasa okukola obanga ddala yali yeekangabiriza bwekangabiriza.
Tweyanza nnyo, tweyanzeege leader wa opposition. Mwebale nnyo, mwebale nakuuma budde.
Thank you.
tujja kukolanga bwekityo